That looks much better. Oh, what's going on? I missed you guys. Sorry it's been so long. As some of you guys might know, I just got a new full-time job back in the end of February. I'm a contractor for Lowe's and I hang window blinds and shutters inside people's houses. Oh yeah, and also I just bought a house a couple of months ago which needed completely gutted, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. Now I'm doing drywall, finishing it up. And I just don't have any time for YouTube anymore. I wish I did, but it's been tough, guys, trust me. But once I get my house done, it's gonna be back on the YouTube grind. I'm not giving up on you guys, trust me. I'll be back. This is just a little temporary break so I can get some things done on my end. But anyways, back to this video at hand. As some of you guys might know, this is my dad's bike. It's a 2008 Suzuki DR650. He's had it for a couple years now, and Father's Day was a couple weeks ago, sometime around there, and I really didn't know what to get my dad for Father's Day or what to do. And then I had the idea, oh, I know his bike needs some work, maybe I will just give him one of those you know, coupon cards we all used to make as kids, like one free hug or whatever. But actually mine was one free bike service. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. I'm gonna service my dad's bike for Father's Day. Happy late Father's Day to all you dads out there. I hope you guys enjoy the video. So let's talk about the work I'm gonna be doing on my dad's bike. For one, he completely ran this thing out of oil. He really does not know how to take care of things at all. And he locked the engine up. So I'm going to start off by doing a complete engine rebuild. Because I don't know what the inside of this thing's going to look like. It's probably trashed. Knowing my dad, he really does not take care of things. So let's start off by pulling the engine out of this thing.
Is it this 10W40?
Just kidding, guys. Luckily, there's still oil in this engine, even though it is very old. He's never changed it. You know what I don't want to do with hot oil? That is get it all over my hand. So I'm really going to try hard not to get hot oil all over my hand. Ooh. Guess what I did? I got hot oil all over my hand. Luckily it's not too hot. It's pretty hot. That stuff is pure liquid coming out of there. Maybe if we tip it over. Oh, there's some more. There's lots more actually. Next I'm gonna pop off the oil filter cover, which is right here. There it is. There's the oil filter. I don't know. This kind of doesn't have a brand name on it. It might be the stock oil filter. The paper feels really old and worn out. Definitely time for a new oil filter. Yeet. I can go ahead and get the oil drain bolt back in. All that oil's drained out now. I've got a new filter here. It's K&N KN137. So I'm going to go ahead, pop this bad boy in, and I'm going to get just a little bit of oil on the sealing surface there. Let's get that in, and then get a little bit of oil on this O-ring on the oil filter cover. And that's pretty much it. Now we'll tighten it down. I almost forgot a pretty important step, and that's to fill the oil filter with oil. The reason I'm going to do this is so that it gives me a more accurate reading once I put oil in it, because if you don't do it, then this thing will be completely dry, and after it sucks up a ton of oil, then your oil level that you thought was right in the right spot will actually be pretty low. So the oil I'm going to be using is this full synthetic Valvoline 10W40 motorcycle oil. So let's go ahead and fill it up. That paper just keeps sucking in the oil. And now oil's kind of starting to come out of it, so I'm going to get it back in. This might make a mess. We'll see. There we go. Oil filter's in. Now let's go ahead and add some oil to this thing. And it takes 2,300 milliliters. Each one of these is 946 milliliters, so it's going to take 2 of these and then a little bit of the third one. Don't even need a funnel with this spike. I'm going to save the third bottle for when I have the bike on level ground, and then I can check the sight glass to see how much oil we got in this thing. Okay guys, next up I'm going to change the tires on this bike. No tread left on these things at all. The last ride he went on this thing, the last big ride, he was trying to get up a snowy hill. Can you believe that with this tire? I don't know what he was thinking. We got to get him fixed up. Still some decent tread left on the front. I don't have a bike lift, although I have a plastic crate with a couple pieces of wood. That should definitely do the trick. Let's get this thing up on the crate, and then I'll be able to pull the front wheel first and change the tire. Let's get to it. Okay, there we go. I got most of the weight off the front. Well, I got all the weight off the front wheel here, so we're ready to pull the wheel. Let's go ahead and do it. Kind of a weird front axle design. I've never seen one quite like this, but hey, you see something new every day. Another weird thing is the fact that this bike was made in 2008, but it still has an analog speedometer system. I gotta go ahead and remove the speedometer cable as well. Alright, now the wheels should be able to come out. No, not quite. Actually, we have to, the axle's screwed in on the other fork, so we actually have to unscrew it. Alright, now we should be able to get the wheel out. There we go, there's the front wheel. So next, we gotta get all the air out of this thing, and then we'll be in business. No, I do not have a tire stand. Yes, I am gonna do this on the ground but there are a couple reasons I do everything minimally on this channel. One, to save money. I'm not a rich man by any means. And two, to show you that anyone can do what I do on motorcycles with the least amount of tools and the least amount of knowledge. Now I can go ahead and loosen up the nut on the valve stem. That was super loose. Probably a good thing, it really doesn't need to be that tight. There we go. To remove the tire, I'm going to be using these nice Tusk tire removers. I only have 2 of those, so I'm also going to be using this little baby one that it came with, and maybe even a couple of these cheapy tire spoons. We'll see what we get into. I really don't want to pinch the tube because I don't have another tube, so I'm going to try to be a bit careful with these. Now we got to bust the bead, of course. I always forget that step. There it is, broke the bead. It's not always that easy, trust me. There we go, we got one in there. It's a good step. There we go, we made it full circle. So now what I do is, what do we do next? Oh yeah, flip it over. Put a piece of wood down so I'm not scraping the disc on the bare floor. This side's gonna be much easier. It always is. We almost got her. One more bite maybe. Can we get it in one bite? Let's see. There we go, got it in one bite. Okay, now we've got the wheel essentially inside of the tire, as you see here. So, all we gotta do now is get the wheel outside of the tire. Simple as that. Some people find the old peely wheelie does a good job on this. There we go, the old peely wheelie. The inside of the wheel still looks good. Spoke or rim tape is still in place. No holes, no rips. Pretty clean bike. Next up, we pull the old tube out of here, which I don't think I've pinched. Yeah, it's still holding air. The worst thing ever, guys, trust me, the worst thing ever is when you think you haven't pinched the tube, but then you put it all back together, get the new tire on, and it doesn't freaking hold air. Trust me, that's got to be the worst thing ever. So, make sure it still holds air before you put it together. Feels like this one is. Old tire, bye. Here we go. Here are the new tires. These are the Kenda K270s, I think. These are dual sport tires with a pretty good amount of tread. Definitely better tread than his tires now have, but they look good. So let's get them on the wheels. Now, getting it back in, just as easy. Just kidding, way harder. So first off, I'm gonna let a little bit more air out of this tube. We want a little bit of air in it, but just enough so that it holds its shape. A little bit like that, a little bit limp noodle. Nothing more than that, half chub at most. Now we're gonna squeeze it back into the tire. Alright, it's in. We'll get the wheel ready, get it back on the piece of wood, because I'm a professional. And then slap it on. First off, we put the valve stem through the hole in the wheel. There we go, it's in. Then we can go ahead and get that nut back on. Just finger tight, that's it. Not all the way tightened yet, just yet. We will do that later. Alright, now let's continue getting tire on the wheel. We're just doing the opposite of what we did before. So we need to get the wheel inside the tire first. Yeah, I can't get it. So got some Windex here. Spray it down a little bit. It definitely does help, I'm getting it. Oh, there we go, popped it in. So now all we have to do is get the other side in. There we go, it's in, boys. Tire's on. Alright, now let's get some air in it, and hopefully we will pray that it holds air. I've got just a little hand pump here, which will be good enough. Let's go ahead and see if it pumps up. Well, I don't hear any leaks yet. Okay, I think it's good. We can go ahead and tighten the valve stem down the rest of the way. We can get a little bit more air in it. I'm at 20 psi. It says 33 psi is the max. I still don't hear any leaks, so I think I did good. Now I just have to see about balancing this thing. Okay guys, so I found a way that I can actually balance these wheels and tires at home only with materials that I had at hand, which happened to be these jack stands right here. Some of you guys might have done this before, maybe not. What I'm gonna do is just use these jack stands to jack the wheel up, get the axle in here, spin it, and we'll see where the heavy and the light points are. And there's already a wheel weight on this thing, so maybe it's already balanced. Let's give it a shot. I'm just gonna use the axle itself to rest the wheel on. We'll give it a good spin here. And it can't be hitting anything on the bottom. That's perfect. So whichever side settles on the bottom, that's the heavy side, and then whichever side is on top, that's the light side. That's where the weights need to go. And it's still going. It seems like it's pretty well balanced, because if there's a heavy side, usually it finds it pretty quick, but this is also my first time doing this. Any day now, come on. So this is where it stopped. That's actually pretty interesting. I figured that the valve stem side would have been the heaviest. And there is one weight. There's a spoke weight on this wheel, which I actually have never seen before, but it's just a lead weight squeezed onto the spoke right there, and that's where it's settled. So I guess you could probably put a little bit more weight on the top here, but honestly, it seems like this wheel is pretty well balanced already. There wasn't an obvious heavy side. So I'm just going to put it back on like it is. Before I put the axle back in and tighten everything up, I'm going to get a little bit of all-purpose grease and spread it on the axle so that it doesn't get frozen in for whoever takes this thing apart next time. And then I'll also get a little bit of grease inside the speedometer housing here. And now the axle goes back in. And that's it for the front wheel. Let's move on to the back. Now over here on the back, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because we have the chain and everything we're going to have to remove to get the wheel out. But first we got to pull this pin holding the castle nut in place. There we go. That wasn't too tight at all. I've done much worse. And then we can just kind of tap the whole axle through, probably with a better tool than this. Sorry, Dad. And now we should be able to pull the axle out through this side. And there's the rear axle. Now we just gotta monkey the chain off of this thing and we'll be able to get it out. This chain definitely needs some lube too. Alright, chain is off the sprocket. Now I think I should be able to just pull the whole wheel out. Okay, here we go. Super easy. Now we do the same process we did on the front, but this one's easier because we have something on both sides to mount What the hell is this? That's weird. I've never seen that before. Can anyone tell me what this is all about? That's strange. Well, anyways, I guess we can't really use this as leverage for getting the wheel off, but alright, same process as the front. We'll start by taking all the air out, and you know how it goes from there. Alright, the tire is mounted. Let's see if she holds air. This thing was not easy to get on. It was deformed. One side was like mushroomed out, and it made it nearly impossible. So if I didn't pinch the tube, I'd really be surprised. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yeah. It's not holding air. Luckily, I found out that it wasn't holding air a couple days ago. That's why I didn't seem so mad. I just was so mad I didn't even film it. But the good news is I've got a brand new tube here from Sedona, a heavy-duty motorcycle tube. There she is. So hopefully I won't pinch this one. If I do, I'm gonna be pissed. But I did get the tire mounted, and then I set it outside in the sun for a couple days. It's been really hot lately. Anyways, I got to get this tire back off now and then get the new tube in there, so it's time to get to work. Sounds good. No leaky noises. Alright, seems good. Let's see if it's balanced and then get it back on the bike. Here's the old tube. There's the pinch right there. A pretty big one. Lots of little holes. And better yet, it's right next to the valve stem, so you can't even patch it. Alright, I've got it up on the jack stands. I'm going to give it a little spin, and we'll see if it's got a heavy side. Didn't stop at the valve stem or where all those weights were. It stopped right about a little bit next to the valve stem. I probably could add some weights maybe, but there's already 7 1/4-ounce weights on here. So it's over an ounce. I don't know. This is a dual sport bike. It's not like my dad's going to be going 200 miles an hour on it. Now all that's left to do is get the wheel back on the bike. Let's do it. I almost forgot about that whole rear sprocket assembly with all these weird little rubber things. Guess we need that. And it's completely backwards too. Okay. Alright, I've got the wheel in place, the chain is on, the sprocket. All we gotta do now is get the axle back in. Alright, there we go. We don't need this dumb crate anymore, so. There we go, she's on her own 2 feet. The oil level looks like it's right at the full line, which is perfect. It might change after I run the bike for a little bit, but there's only one way to find out. Front tire could definitely use a bit more air too. I never fully pumped it up. Alright guys, last time I started this bike up, which was a few days ago, it was quite hard and it took almost the whole battery being drained before I could start it. But that was after it had been sitting all winter. We'll give it a choke, turn on ignition, turn the gas valve petcock to prime, and let's see if she starts. Wow, that was much easier than last time. Oh, spoke too soon. Take it off, choke. Oh, come on. There it is. Now we can put it back on. And the purpose of this test ride is I have to run to my local hardware store, pick up some bolts for the YZ450, the last 2 engine mount bolts that I need, and then I'm gonna sell that thing. So let's ride. Bit shaky up in the front portion of the bike. I think that tire is, I don't know, not quite seated yet or something. It's running good though, that's for sure. From this point on, the audio was really bad. I guess the GoPro just decided to stop recording audio from my in-helmet microphone and switch to its own microphone. So I just deleted the audio to save you guys the suffering, but the test ride went well. Eventually the front tire wobble went away. I guess it just took a little bit to get it seated correctly. And I got the 2 bolts for my YZ450, and a little spoiler, that bike is now someone else's bike. You'll see that in the next video. I'll talk about that and go over how much money I spent on it and how much I made. So yeah, this video's over. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below what you think, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I make a new video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.